Good morning. I have no idea if anyone is on.
Hello. It doesn't tell me on my end, so.
But it says 0 people, but that's fine.
That's okay.
So this is the Verity spoiler live show. I guess I can do a banner that just says spoilers.
I mean, at this point, they should just know, but yes, we can do that. It is going to be spoilerly for sure.
Yeah, there's really no way for this to not be a spoiler live show. I don't know how to talk about this book without spoiling it, without just reading the synopsis.
Which there isn't much in the synopsis about what this book is actually about. Like, it really skirts around the topic.
Yeah. Really, all the synopsis says is that Lowen is going to help to finish a book and finds a manuscript.
Yeah, that's all it tells you, which doesn't really tell you anything.
Good morning, Amy.
Hi, Amy. Okay. As you guys are coming in, we should get them to tell us what they scored Verity, like their star ratings. Maybe put that in the banner. Because I would like to know. I think it's obvious that both of us gave it 5 stars.
I'll actually just put it as a pinned
comment. A pinned comment. Oh, smart. Smart.
So, okay, tell us what you rated Verity, and also if you are team letter or team manuscript.
Yes.
Let me go in that to the top of the page. Hopefully I can click this fast enough that you don't hear it, but nope. Definitely be quiet. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Pin. There we go. So that is pinned now to the top.
There we go. Oh, I'm so excited to talk about this book. I just love this book so much.
First of all, I just want to say, so this is a reread for me. I hadn't read it since my first read, which was last October. So October of 2021, I read it. I read most of it on a plane from Florida to Indiana because I was coming for a wedding. And it's basically just lived in my brain rent free. Like when people say Colleen Hoover, like when they're like, what Colleen Hoover should I read? I'm like, Verity, just read. Just know that it's different than anything else she writes. Like don't go into it.
Well, it's her only thriller.
Yeah, this is her only thriller. Because the other one, which is Layla, that's different, is paranormal.
Yeah.
And the only other one I can think of off the top of my head that's like completely different is the book Too Late, which if you read that, trigger warnings. But that was not even ever supposed to be published. That one was originally a web novel. So the liberties that she could take with that one were different because she published it on like Wattpad or something. So it's a lot darker than most of what she writes. I mean, I would put Too Late on the same scale as Verity. It's just a different darkness. Haven't rated it. Completely team manuscript.
So are we.
We
are both team manuscript.
I just don't. I do know people that are team letter. Yeah. And I know people that are in between where they think. I think Rainey was in between. I don't know if she's coming today, but I think Rainey was in between, where she felt like some of the letter was true and some of the manuscript is true.
Well, and when we get to it, I'll explain what I think, that there is some hint of truth in the letter, but not in the way that I think would make me not believe the manuscript. But
also, we need to talk about this book. This book opens with a bang, like literally a bang. Like the first line of this book is, I hear the crack of his skull before the spattering of blood reaches me.
Right,
ma'am. Like you. Oh, there she is. Hi, Rainey.
Yeah, I was gonna say Rainey just popped into the comments.
Yes, I knew it. Rainey is team both. So because Rainey and I have talked about this book before.
Yeah.
I think Rainey may have read Verity right before I did. For anyone that doesn't know, Rainey and I have been friends now for like 2 years, I think. We met in a different community, and then for a little while she was doing like coaching, and I did coaching with her. But we've talked about it before, and she's like, I feel like it's both. And I'm like, two manuscripts. But like the book opens with Lowen witnessing someone dying, and
in a very graphic manner too. Like not just like oh, it's a death. Like no, it is like very gruesome and described. She can describe that woman.
Oh,
describe.
Listen, I read this book and my reaction was like everyone else. Now, I did buy this book not too long ago. I had originally just read it on Kindle Unlimited, and then I was like, when I went to Walmart and did my first book haul, I was like, I have to get Verity. Like Verity is a top 10 book. Okay. Top 5 maybe even.
Yeah.
I read this book, and like everyone else, I was like, Colleen, girl,
are you okay?
Are you good? Like, are you okay?
Yeah.
What has happened in your life? Like, what is going on?
But I even think that this is why I'm team manuscript, because Colleen Hoover, yes, she can write these really dark things as a writer, but they're not about people in her actual life. Like, I think it's very hard to separate real from fiction when you're writing about your actual life. So I think it's even one of my reasons why I'm team manuscript, because she does write these dark things, but they're fictional characters. It's one thing to write dark things about fictional characters. It's another thing to write extremely graphic and dark things about people in your own life. So that's one of the reasons that I am team manuscript, because I'm like, that there's a line there. There's a difference. There's a difference.
Right. Okay, let's see. So Amy says that she can see team both. Again, I'm so sorry. This is mom life, so Ari isn't here, so
yes,
it is what it is. This was the only book. Yeah,
so, it's hard.
Okay, so here is a little thing about me. I went into Verity blind. I didn't read any trigger warnings. I didn't know that I should read trigger warnings because people were just talking about this book on Instagram, and I had already read the other one, the one with the pink cover.
It Ends With Us?
Yes, I had read that one already. I had actually purchased that one because I tried to get it from the library, and it was like an 18-month wait, and I was like, I'm not waiting that long. Hello.
Okay, Kelsey is my Bookstagram bestie. Like, we started a book club together, so that's I was like, this is my Booktube bestie and my Bookstagram bestie meeting, and I love that.
Right. When like you are my Booktube bestie, and Rainey is like just my online bestie, and we just bled into.
So all of our friends are bleeding together. I love it.
Too. You're my bestie too. Sit down. I have multiple besties.
She's like, what about me?
Don't worry. Okay.
Ari, you can be my bestie.
You want to be Brittany's bestie? Okay. Sounds good.
Perfect. Yes. Brittany. Yeah, it's like all the friends.
Amy, you're also a bestie.
Oh, Amy, you are.
If it hadn't been for you, we wouldn't even be doing this.
100%. You are the whole reason we're having this live show.
My buddy, my bestie Brittany.
I'll figure it out, bro. We'd have to cross the Canadian border, but I can figure it out. Sit down. Sit down and watch your show, please. Oh, I love you too, Rainey. Yes, this book.
This book is crazy, but I think I didn't look up trigger warnings. I just knew because I was reading it. I only read it for the first time last month. So like I had heard in the book community, oh, it's dark. Oh, it's dark. Oh, it's dark. And I don't have a lot of triggers that like I need to look out for me personally. So I didn't think it was going to be something that would. So I was like, oh, it's just dark. I know it's dark. And I kind of went into it thinking it's dark like Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. Because if you've ever read Pretty Girls, I didn't know Pretty Girls was dark until I read it. And I went, oh, this is not like a normal thriller. Oh, this is really graphic. Oh, that's a lot, which was fine, but I didn't go into it prepared. So I thought Verity was going to be dark, like Pretty Girls was dark. So I like went into it with that mindset and then got hit with, oh no, this is very different.
And you kind of have no warning.
No.
Because she finds the manuscript, right? And she thinks that it is part of
her book series.
The book series. So, or that it's something to do with the book series because there's so much clutter. There's so much stuff. And what we know is that she finds it. And she says, as soon as I see Jeremy's name mentioned, I scan a little more of the page. It's an autobiography.
Yeah.
So she thinks, okay, well, this is an autobiography. I can get to know her by reading this. Because if you pick up someone's autobiography, you're going to be like, okay, cool. Maybe this will explain some of the things that are happening. But then this book that Verity Crawford has written is called So Be It. That's what she's called her book, right?
Yeah.
And she goes in about how she hates that autobiographies are counterfeit thoughts, and that authors or writers should write about themselves only if they are going to remove every layer of protection that they have. Which, like, okay, so that makes me think whatever is written in these pages is true. And she reads things and then kind of asks Jeremy questions like how they met and things like that. Things that wouldn't necessarily tip him off to be like, why are you digging around? Because she has to know something in order to write these books or finish this book series, right? Because I think she's got like 3 or 4 more books that she's supposed to write.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really think anything of it. He's just like, oh, this is how we met, which the way that they meet or the way he says that they meet lines up with the book.
Yeah.
And I marked this part because I was like, this is a sign. Now, I annotated on my second read through. So this time that I read, I annotated. I read it on my Kindle, so I didn't annotate the first time. But our first sign of codependency or some kind of unhealthiness around Verity and Jeremy is this, where she says, I wouldn't say I was lost before the night I met Jeremy, but I had certainly never been found until the moment he laid eyes on me from across the room.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And as we dig deeper into this, as things progress, that they get married, they have kids, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like a reverse thing. So a lot of times we read about like the fathers resenting the children or having their own, I don't even really want to call it resentment. Usually it's like male baby blues is really what it is that they feel like they've been replaced and then they work through it. Mm-hmm. But she feels like she has been replaced by these female children.
Yeah.
And is like, I hate everything.
Yeah.
You want to watch it?
Yes.
Turn it on.
Definitely. That's definitely true. And I think that for me, I was like, oh, yeah, I didn't mind Pretty Girls, but it was just, I wasn't going into it expecting it to be graphic. So then I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, she meant gory. So here's my thing. If I had read The Dollhouse Duality by Sarah Ennis first, which I didn't even know that those were books. Okay. So I just want y'all to know that. If I had read that first, I probably would have gone into this with the mindset of The Dollhouse Duality, which again, read trigger warnings on that, because that. Okay. Then turn it on, Ori. Give it to me. Give it to me. Click the back button. You know how to use the remote. Yes. So that one is very those books are very graphic and gory.
Yeah.
I didn't. So go down if you want Frozen, Ari. Stop. Down one more. You know how to use the remote, dude. Acting like you don't know how.
Now what can I do?
If you can't turn it on yourself, then I guess you're not going to watch it. That's what I thought. Turn it on and sit down and watch it. But going into this blind was not the move. It was not.
It's not it, eh?
I did find it interesting, which this makes sense, kind of. I found it interesting that Lowen changed her name to write the books, but obviously they wanted her specifically. Because doesn't she use her own name, or does she use something else to write her own books?
No, she uses her own name for her own books. And a pen name for Verity's books.
Right. So I found that, I mean, maybe I'm just weird and notice small, okay, sit down, and notice small details. I feel like my husband would know if I was writing a fake autobiography. Yeah,
that's, there's enough truth in that he didn't question it.
But I think that he did question it.
Do you?
Because, so obviously we go through, she finds the manuscript. She's pretty sure at certain points that Verity is like watching her through the windows. Like when the nurse takes Verity outside. Obviously there are sparks of things between Lowen and Jeremy, which I don't know how there wouldn't be, considering that they are living in the same house, but it's fine. We know that the nurse is pretty suspicious and is like, you guys are gross type thing. At one point, Lowen thinks that Jeremy is upstairs having sex with Verity because she hears like the bed moving. It ends up just being like a
hospital bed. Yeah.
That just like moves so she doesn't get bed sores. But we go through all that. But by the time that we get to a point where Lowen decides that she has to tell Jeremy about this manuscript, right? We already are told in the manuscript that she's killed her child, the first child.
The second.
Yes. Okay.
Harper, she suspects that Harper killed the first one.
Because
it makes no sense. But anyway.
Because there are two twins.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm terrible with names. I probably should have taken
Chastain.
Chastain.
That's how I thought it was.
Chastain?
Could be. And I didn't do the audiobook, so I'm not sure. And Harper.
Yeah, I didn't do the audiobook either because the audiobook is an audible.
Chastain, one of them.
It's something.
Yeah.
So we'll just call them C and H, okay?
Because
that's easier. So C, I believe she had a peanut allergy.
Yeah, she was
accidentally ate something with peanuts in it
at a sleepover
party. But Verity is convinced that H planted these snacks.
But these are like 3-year-olds, can I just say? Like 4. Like they're infantile.
They were young. Of course, that would be the part I didn't have.
You're like, I don't remember, but they were young. for like one to be planning a master manipulation with peanuts.
They were definitely young. I don't know if they were that young, since they were, I don't know. I couldn't imagine having my 4-year-old go to a sleepover, but
You don't like me peanuts.
not you. Would you sit down and stop being nosy?
You won't let me go to a sleepover?
Oh, maybe now you're 5. But we also get these like weird tidbits about how she sleepwalks, how Lowen sleepwalks. So she's like, you have to lock me in, right?
Yeah, that was weird.
And then at one, which I mean, I know people that sleepwalk.
Yes.
And that will do things in their sleep. Like they will stand
for sure
and stuff that's creepy. So like I mean, to someone that didn't know someone that sleepwalks, I could see it being like, bro, I'm not gonna lock you in. Like, but when they get locked in the bedroom, right? I think it's like the first time
they were 8. I just found it.
That they have sex and they get locked in. He thinks that Crew did it, the little boy.
Yes.
But even Lowen is like, this lock is too tall for Crew to
well,
have.
Then he says if you slam the door, the lock latches. And I'm like, no.
No, it doesn't. Verity got up and locked you in. Anyways, because the nurse wasn't there either. So they were 8. So she thinks
they were 8.
So Verity has convinced herself that Harper, I'm just gonna call her Chasten. It's fine.
Yeah, we're gonna go with it.
That Harper poisoned Chasten and purposely killed her twin sister by planting snacks at this sleepover because these parents were always so careful. Which, like, if your child, right, doesn't
that's a normal thing to be careful with. Yeah.
Anna, who is my 5-year-old, if Ari had a friend come over and I spoke to their parents, which I'm old school, so I would do that. And I said, hi, what kind of allergy does your child have? Because in our house, we have allergy. So like Sam can't have pineapple. I can't eat seafood. Those are the main 2 allergies. So if they said, oh, they have a peanut allergy, absolutely no peanut butter, nothing with peanut butter, no tree nuts, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to throw those objects away, but I am going to put them somewhere where that child can't get to them or find them.
Yeah.
Right. But because Ariana eats peanut butter and Sam, basically, that's a whole food group for him, I'm not going to get rid of my peanut butter.
No.
But I will be careful enough to put it away and say, as long as your friend is here.
Well, and I would probably like remove it from the kitchen. Like I'd make it in a place where like there's no way these children are going to be able to get to. It's pretty easy to put something behind a lock that an 8-year-old can't get to. Like 8 is an easy age to still kind of baby proof around. Like we're not talking about like huge children. Like it's still easy to lock things and
but it's also I believe it was like M&Ms or something that she ate. So it's also very possible that it just got missed.
True.
Like,
yeah.
If you have a pantry full of food,
100%,
which they were, I mean, these are not poor people. Okay. So I doubt that their children are like fraternizing with the scum of the earth. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think the logical people to blame would be the parents that had the sleepover. Like, obviously there was a mistake and it was a horrific mistake and ended horrifically. But like, I don't think the master manipulation of another 8-year-old is the logical place your brain is going to jump to. Like, it doesn't make sense. But I think this comes back to the fact that like, even from infancy or even in the womb, she was having such a hard time connecting with these 2 girls. And then especially Harper, almost like an alienation of a parent with a child situation that was led up to this. So it wasn't just like, oh, it was fine until she was 8. And then all of a sudden, oh, Harper became this vindictive person in her mind. It was the entirety of this little girl's existence.
And the thing is that she even says after Chasten dies that Chasten was her favorite, which is strange. Which, okay, listen, I am a parent. Okay. I understand that if you have multiple children, sometimes there is a bond between you and another child that is different than the other children.
Yeah.
Right? Especially for me as someone who is a birth mom. So it's a different thing because like I'm trying to think how to word this without sounding like an asshole. My bond with Ari, who lives with me full time and has lived with me since birth, obviously, is different than the bond that I have with her brothers, but also my youngest son, I had the least amount of time and was going through postpartum depression when he went into care. So he was only with me for a week. So the bonding process, it's deeper now, but the bonding process for a very long time between me and my youngest son was akin to like a sibling. Like it wasn't really, for a while, it wasn't really like a motherly bond. I mean, I did like therapy and stuff to help with that, but I can compare it to like a sibling bond because I have siblings. So like, I know what that is, you know what I'm saying? So like, I understand like the nuances and the different bonding types, but it's like, she didn't want Harper at all.
No.
And also,
well, and she didn't really want either of them at the beginning. And I think,
which is true,
is
relatable. Like, if you have postpartum depression, listen, I have postpartum depression with
absolutely
3 of the 4, right? The only one I didn't have postpartum depression with was Ari, and that's because I'd had postpartum depression with the other 3. So I was like, okay, as soon as she's born, it's therapy time. Like, that's the only reason that I didn't, is because I built a wall in order to not.
Yeah.
It's fine. Just hit the back button. There's no reason to be yelling. Just go back, hit the home button, and then go back to Disney. There's no reason to be yelling. So
well, when I first started reading her description of finding out she's pregnant and various things, I kind of thought that was maybe even something that she was experiencing. I didn't know that it was going to go to the extent that it went to. So I was like, oh, well, that's obviously in a very extreme case. But I think that's I don't think it's talked about a lot, is perinatal depression, postnatal depression. Like it happens to so many people.
And hers, I feel like was, I don't want to say 100% because I've never personally experienced postpartum psychosis, but that's how it read to me.
Yeah.
It was more severe than postpartum.
Obviously. This is something at the most extreme of
but like she eventually bonded with Chasten, but didn't bond with Harper. I mean, to the point that she talked about like not feeding Harper as much as she fed.
The most graphic scene for me was the scene in the crib where she tries to basically ask-her-bait Harper in the crib. And I was just like, I needed to put the book down. I was like, okay, I'm going to need a second.
Now
I'm just going to need a minute to just come back to this in a minute. And I read this book in 18 hours. I didn't take a long minute, but I did take a minute because I was like, I need a second.
Like, there were times that I put the book down. I drank some water. I kind of.
Yeah. I just needed to process that.
And I have to continue because I can't just leave it sitting here.
No.
And like festering.
Yeah.
No. And yes, like Rainy, postpartum depression.
It does. Yeah.
But I feel like she bonded eventually with Chasten. She never bonded with Harper, and she bonded with Crew. Now,
I actually am surprised that wasn't covered more. Like we kind of skipped over Crew's whole Crew mostly.
I think we're supposed to believe, because I think Verity believes, right, that her and Crew's bond was seamless because he was a boy.
Yeah.
And the reason that she had such a hard time bonding with Chasten and then never bonding with Harper is because they were girls. And because she didn't bond with Harper, Harper was a threat to her and Jeremy's marriage. Very weird, but okay.
Yeah.
Because since she didn't have time or didn't bond with Harper, so she didn't want anything to do with her, Jeremy bonded with Harper, and Jeremy would stick up for Harper and be like, what are you doing? Like, why are you treating her this way? What is wrong with you? And then that was, oh my gosh, like he loves her more than he loves me.
Yeah.
Which he does say at some point in the book, something about loving the kids more than he loves Verity, but like, no offense to any of my partners in this house, I love my kid more than I love anybody else.
Well, and I think it's just very different. The love that you have for your children is a very unconditional love. Like it's a very different, it's just extremely different. Like as a parent, like it's, and I don't think you even understand how different it is until you are a parent. And then you're like, oh no, this is different. Because it's a very different thing.
But she took it as like, because she didn't have those bonds yet.
Right.
He took it as like a personal attack. Like she took it as like, oh, you love the kids more than you love me type. And I'm like, okay, but it's different. But like, okay.
Yeah, I agree, Rainey. I think personally, I think that is the worst, not the worst scene in the book, but the one that was the hardest for me to read and take in. I think that was the pinnacle of like, oh wow,
I think
that's a lot.
It was the first most shocking scene, I think.
That's probably why. And then the rest, I was kind of like, okay, then this is where we are. So I think I was prepared for the rest of them because I had that
by the time, which this is skipping a lot again.
That's okay. We never said we were going in chronological order.
And, spoilers. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone here has read this book.
Yeah.
Girls for competition for her. Yeah. Because I watched your thriller vlog. I thought I had watched it and I didn't. So I watched it last night.
Who, mine?
Yeah.
Oh, my thriller vlog from Thursday. Yeah. Me loving Verity and complaining about 2 other books. That's what my thriller vlog is.
Kelsey had commented on your Verity blog, on that vlog. So I know she's read it. So. It went downhill from here. Yeah. And by the time that we get to the scene where she drowns Harper in the lake, like, hold on, Ray. I was already numb to everything else. I cried. Don't get me wrong. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then the fact that she had the audacity and the wherewithal to act like she couldn't save Harper, like you held her under the water, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Yes. Yes.
Can I please have a can of soda?
Yeah.
It's true. And I think also, like, as soon as we got to the point of like, oh, they're going out in the canoe, we already know that's where Harper dies from earlier in the book. So it's not like I'm sitting here like going, oh, what's about to happen? Like, it's not a shock. It's not as shocking because it's very much foretold through the beginning half of the book. But I was just like, what in the heck is this woman doing? Like, she's really just lost it.
That's the only one you're getting.
Lost the plot to her life completely.
Yeah. Her girls,
Yeah.
They definitely were. And it was very. Okay, so I know someone in real life. I'm not going to say any names because Ari also knows who they are, and we no longer
repeat things.
Well, we no longer associate with them.
Gotcha.
Ariana's safety. But I know someone who has a bond like this weird codependency thing like Verity has with Jeremy. But it is a daughter and a father. And it's very strange. Like it's a strange bond because it's like to a point that this father has been married to their wife for like, I don't know, 30 years or something, and 20 years. And the daughter still doesn't really like the wife. You know what I'm saying? So like now if she wants something, then it's like mommy this, mommy that type thing. But as soon as she gets upset, then she wants nothing
Right.
to do. And it's a very, first of all, it's weird to see it play out in real life because I have parents, obviously. Like my mom is passed away now, but most of we'll say the last, how old am I? 30. Well, so we'll say for the last 8 years, right? I had up until I was like 28. So from like 22 to 28, I had 2 sets of parents. I had my dad and my stepmom, my mom, and my stepdad, right? And like, I love all of my parents. Okay. They have their faults, but I love them. And it would be like when my mom passed away, my stepdad was like, is it going to bother you if I start dating again? I mean, no. Like, if I don't like the person, it's because I don't like them, not because I'm like upset that you're like trying to move on. You know what I mean? Like, he's barely 50. So like I'm not going to be like, ew, I cannot believe that you wouldn't just be miserable for the rest of your life.
Right.
This bond that Verity has with Jeremy is so codependent.
Yeah.
And like, don't get me wrong. Okay. I had my codependency issues, especially when I was like really bad into my addiction and stuff 10 years ago. Okay. Well, 15 years ago. Wow. That's a long time. When I was like in the height of it, like there were people that I had codependent issues around.
Yeah.
This book makes my codependency
it's a whole other level. It's like, it's crazy.
Look
it's
like a healthy relationship. It wasn't.
Yeah.
But it just, that's what it makes it, because I mean, she's talking
well,
about,
and I think that's it. This is normal, not normal, but things that happen in life put to the absolute extreme. Like let's just blow these things that happen, but to an extreme that wasn't, makes it like, whoa, what is happening? And yes, it is. Yes. We find that out in the bathroom scene at, I think in chapter 1 or chapter 2.
Yeah, we find it out right after homegirl gets splattered with blood.
That's why it's either in chapter 1 or chapter 2, because they're in the bathroom. Oh, it's chapter 1. It's definitely chapter 1, because by chapter 2, they're in the meeting. So
yeah, chapter 1, because he gets her to a coffee shop. We're just gonna pretend like it's Starbucks because we can. And he's like, they'll have a bathroom, and they go in, and
it's on page 8 that we read it. It's I pulled my 8-year-old daughter's body out of the lake.
Yeah, because she asks him like, "What happened to you?" You said
so
you were
very early in the book.
Yeah,
we find out about that.
So we do get a hint of like something. Now she knows, I think, or Googles them or something, and figures out how much tragedy they have faced, because at this point they've lost twins,
2 daughters,
but have another child, right?
Yeah.
And Crew, I feel like Crew knows that his mother is not a vegetable.
That's the point. Here's my receipts to why I think this is a good point for me to say why I think the manuscript is true, other than that I think there is a small bit of truth in the letter that I do think Jeremy knew about the manuscript before Lowen showed it to him, and did somehow orchestrate Verity hitting a tree with her car. Like, I 100% believe that. I think that did happen. However, I think that like the manuscript has to be true, because no same person who like the same person who could do these 2 things, it would be the same person. She has, yes, her husband tried to murder her, and yes, that's horrible, but no one would react to that by pretending to be a invalid. She pees on herself at one point in front of Lowen to prove that she is an invalid. She is obviously talking to her son and traumatizing the crap out of this, 5-year-old kid. Like, he's going to need therapy for a very long time for all the things that she has put him through, and trying to like, oh, don't tell your father that I'm talking to you. Don't touch my knife. Like Lord Almighty. Like, there's just no way that this person didn't do those things. Like you have to be like there's a level of disturbed that only this person can do these things. And we know she did these things, whether the manuscript is true or the letter is true. We know that these things happened. So it just is, I cannot separate the two people. Like it's too much makes sense that they are the same person.
And I feel like it's convenient that she was like, oh, I had writer's block, so my editor, yes, always sit down. My editor told me, I swear, if people did not know that I was polyamorous, this, like, the things that Ari asks me, like, are you sleeping by yourself tonight, would be so weird. Anyway, I'm sorry. I feel
Thank you. Amy's comment is exactly what I'm saying. I'm like this. Yes.
Yes. Right. And my thing is, it's very convenient to me. Like, it feels convenient that she was like, I had writer's block, so my editor told me to write an autobiography and to twist it. Okay, there's a twisting. Okay, like, I could write an autobiography and make, like, my addiction look worse than it was, right? So instead of saying, oh, I took painkillers, I could say, which is what my addiction was. It was painkillers. I could say that I did copious amounts of meth and cocaine, right? Like, I could make it look worse. No one's addiction is worse than another. Okay?
No, but yeah, to a more I understand what you're saying.
But I could twist certain things to make them look worse or an exercise. The amount of things that she writes about, like, as a parent, I would never be like, oh, we're gonna, hi, Lincoln.
I was just seeing that. I was like, hi, Lincoln. How old is Lincoln? Do you know? I saw him on your 24-hour sprints, but only for like 5 seconds before I had to leave.
I think he just turned 3.
Oh, that's such a fun age.
4. I'm trying to remember if he's 2 years younger than Ari. I know he just started preschool. Rainey, how old is Lincoln?
Yeah,
he just started preschool, but I can't remember if he started like 3-year-old preschool or if he's in 4-year-old preschool. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Leave that alone.
I need to say hi.
Okay, come say hi. Say hi, friends.
Hi, Ari.
Hi, besties.
Hi, bestie.
Okay, go watch Frozen, Lego Frozen.
Mom,
Yes.
remember that toy I had in Florida with that little cutie thing?
Yes. You need me to buy you a new one?
Yes.
Okay.
I lost the little cutie thing.
How about this? Let me get all your.
Anna or Christoph.
Okay, so listen.
Ben,
Are you listening?
or else.
Are you listening?
Yes.
Let me get all your school stuff, and then we'll talk about more toys. Okay. Let's have a good start to school, and then we'll talk about more toys. Sound good? Because I have to get you a backpack.
Does she start next week?
She's supposed to, yeah. Yes, I'm gonna next week on Wednesday when I get paid. Then on Thursday I'm gonna have your dad take us to the store, and you're gonna pick out a backpack.
Okay, well, when I pick the backpack up,
Yes, it's called.
It's
called like Frozen.
Walk around in the store with it
on. Okay.
And then I'm gonna get school supplies and homework.
Yes.
And then I'm gonna unzip my backpack and then put it in my backpack so it looks like I'm really at school.
That sounds like a plan. Now sit down, please. Yes, there is the one. Okay, sit down. The one that she's watching is called like Frozen Northern Lights. It's on Disney Plus. But yes, there is a Lego Frozen. I think there's 2 or something. I don't know, but there definitely is one. At least
And their hands are frozen.
It's cute enough. I mean, it's frozen, so of course.
Yeah.
Hands are not shaped like
Yeah, because they're Legos. Sit down.
Yeah,
I just feel like the whole thing with like this was an exercise, like an exercise. I feel like if it was an exercise, then Jeremy wouldn't have tried to kill her.
Well, yeah.
I feel like if it was, because I feel like this, he knew about the manuscript.
Yeah.
And the reason, and I'm pretty sure it's even like pretty obvious that he knew about it, because
I agree.
he says to him, like, I found this, and he kind of flips through it and then goes in like he's going to do something to Verity.
Yeah.
But kind of alludes to the fact that like he already tried to kill her once and she just didn't die.
Well, and when he sees it, he's more surprised that she has it, not of its existence.
And I think
he's more like, how did you get it? Like, I don't understand.
I think that he was under the assumption that the only copy she had
was the one on her computer. Yeah.
And he'd seen the one on her computer. So seeing it again triggered him, like, as it should. Okay. Yeah. Seeing it again in someone else's hands triggered him, because his question was, well, where did you get this from? And she's like, it was in her office.
Yeah.
And he was like, because he read it on her computer originally. So when he confronted her about it, Verity says in the letter that supposedly she tried to convince him that what was in the manuscript wasn't true. I feel like it was true and she didn't do a good job of lying.
Yeah.
I'm seeing both, but
we agree. Me and Rainey are on the same page.
Primarily, yeah.
Same page.
And the thing is like on my second read, now the first read, I was like, team manuscript, screw this letter.
Yeah.
Now I did think about the letter, but I was like, it's all fabricated. On my second read through, I think because I knew what was coming, so the shock value had worn off. Like I knew what was going to happen. I mean, it was so shocking. I still cried. Okay, it's fine. But the shock value for the most part had worn off by that point. So because it had worn off, I could go into it and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm team manuscript. What happened to that manuscript is true.
Yeah, but I agree.
But I also believe that he tried to kill her and she just didn't die.
I 100% agree with that.
And now I also believe that he resented every day that he spent in that house with her invalid body.
Yeah.
Because Jeremy is a morally gray character. He's a complex character. So I'm sure that when she didn't die, he felt guilt over trying to kill her.
I was just about to say, I think he thinks of her being an invalid and having to be taken care of and everything that needs to happen because of this is like his penance, basically, for having tried to kill her. Like, I think he's somehow thinking it that way.
He's 3.5.
Crew? Oh no, like Lincoln.
I
was like, Crew is 3.5 at the book. No, Lincoln, yes, okay.
Lincoln is 3.5. I
know what's happening now.
Younger than Ari because I think I had just met Rainey like right after or right before Lincoln's first birthday. I think I remember seeing Lincoln's first birthday on Instagram, and I was like, oh. You know how you are with like your online friends.
Yeah,
you don't know their kids at all. I don't know how Rainey and I never like met up though, because we both lived in Florida and we weren't that far.
I was gonna say I actually don't know. I thought you were in Florida. You're not in Florida now though, are you?
No, I'm in Indiana.
I didn't think so. I was like, I know she used to live in Florida and I know she's in Eastern time zone, but the exact location she lives in, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're in Indiana now. One day soon we'll go back and like visit, and I'll call Rainey and be like, hey girl.
Anyone comes to Canada, you can come see me. Although Canada is a big place, so you have to come to the East Coast.
Well, Ari says that we have to come visit you. So
Kelsey's in Canada, but we're nowhere near each other and have never met in person. But someday we will.
Me and Cassie, who shows up on these Sprint sometimes, she lives like 3 or 4 hours from me. What did you just spill? Clean it up. Clean it up. Don't just leave it sitting there. There's a towel right there. No, a towel. Come on, clean it up because I've got stuff on that floor. So I hope you didn't just spill it all over my stuff.
I didn't. I just spilled it on the floor.
Okay, clean it up. It's fine. Anyways, but Cassie lives only a couple hours from me, so we've been trying to figure out how to like meet up. But
I was actually talking about that. Someone was like, "Are you ever going to meet your book friends?" Because I was talking about, I think I was doing a sprints with you or something coming up, and I was like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "Well, the problem is the reason we're all online is because we're all introverts and don't like to leave our houses. So why we're going to then go fly halfway across the country to see people? It's a struggle."
Listen, I went the wedding that I went to last year where I read Verity on the plane. I used to do Beachbody. Okay. So did Rainy at one point. So it's what it is. I really do actually I do their workouts still. I just don't sell it.
Yeah.
Okay, Ari. Make sure you scrub that. Yes. And scrub that out of my carpet. Take the towel and scrub that out of my carpet because I do not want my carpet to be crunchy. Let's go. Thank you so much. I met her through the same community that I met Rainy through. Then we did, and then she was like, "I do Beachbody. Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." Did I make any money? Absolutely not. But she got married and she invited me to her wedding. So I knew no one at her wedding. Like literally I didn't even know her. Okay.
Yeah.
I went to her wedding. Yes. And that was the first time I met her, was at her wedding and like in person, obviously. I'll think about it, yes. And I will see, yes. And like we hugged each other. Like I made friends with like her old high school friend. He was great. I mean, it was a time. You know, it's fine. But we're introverted. We're not trying to leave the house.
It's it. Yes, come to the East Coast. Come see me.
Exactly.
And yeah, like we're all we read 100 books a year because I don't like to leave my house. Like that's
okay. There's a dress in there.
But like, you know.
Yeah. So I just feel like he had guilt, but then he resented being in the house, but also felt like it was his penance for trying to kill him. Or trying to kill her. So he also felt like he owed it. I think, oh, you need a shirt for under that. That dress needs a shirt under it. That's just a pinafore, dude.
What's a pinafore? I don't know what
it's a dress that needs a shirt under it. That's what a pinafore is. Thank you so much. I'm not gonna try to explain it to you. Look in there. All your
this one?
That's fine. That's fine.
Look, I love
That's fine. Okay, get a pair of underwear as well.
I love ice cream.
I know you do.
And especially straw.
Okay. Yes.
Give me double scoops next time we go to get me ice cream.
Your dad is the one that takes you to get ice cream, but okay. Next time we'll get you double scoops. Now go.
This one.
Are you gonna go take a bath?
I wear it to tell Daddy which one I want. I want this one.
Okay.
With the green coat.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, bye. See you later.
See you later.
Can you shut my door, please? Thanks so much. I don't want the cats in here.
This is just gonna be a short bath.
That's fine, but shut my door because I don't want the cats in here.
Okay.
Because they want to be peeing all over stuff. We already got to clean the carpet in the living room. Thanks so much. Because they peed under the couch. Thanks so much. Bye.
And also my mini ring is under the couch and I can't get it.
Okay, we'll get it for you. Goodbye. Go take a bath. See you later. Well, set the towel down, dude. So anyways, so he feels that guilt, right? But also like wants her dead. Because I feel like if he didn't want her dead, when he saw the manuscript again, he would have just been like, yeah, I already knew about this. But like instead, he goes busting up the stairs.
Or it's just like a trigger. Like it's just a trigger to send him into a mad rage when he sees it again. Like maybe he has put it just out of his mind. He's like, okay, I have this penance for having to try to have done this. And I think he is trying to keep her around in her invalid state for Crew, because he obviously does put his kids very highly on his
and it definitely could have
importancy list.
It definitely could have just been a case of like a snapped situation, like not in the light of the situation, because it's not light. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, for anyone who cares, the Lego Disney Frozen is called Lego Disney Frozen Northern Lights. Okay, you're welcome. Here, I'll put it in chat because we are adults here. Adults like Disney too. It's fine. We're a Disney house. Okay, people are gonna see this replay and be like, "Why are they talking about Disney?" It's fine.
Well, if you watch the whole thing, they'll understand how we loop back around.
And after, you know what? You need a palate cleanser after you read this. So just read this.
So after this live show, go watch Lego Disney Frozen as catharsis.
Yeah, just to you know what I mean? Bring some joy back in. But now he does go upstairs and he yells at her like to get up and all this stuff and like shakes her around.
Well, and he didn't know she'd been pretending this whole time. So there is some truth to that. He didn't know what was going on. He knew about the manuscript, but he didn't know that his insane wife has now decided to pretend to be an invalid for the last how many months? 3 months, 4 months?
Something.
Like it's a long time.
Like it's not been like 2 weeks.
No.
She's had to do this for months.
Yeah.
With the nurse coming in basically daily. Exactly this. Watch to unthaw.
Exactly. But like he obviously doesn't believe Lowen when she's like, she's moving around. She's like, he does not believe that this is possible.
And Lowen says, like, she locked the door. I saw her at the top of the stairs. She stares at me from outside. And he's like, no, she doesn't. She just stares. Like, she disassociates. Like, she can't see anything. Like, whatever. But, like, so when he goes up and she refuses to move and then he kills her, right?
No, she does move.
I mean, she does move eventually. But, like, at first she refuses.
I think if she refused the whole time, he probably wouldn't have. Because he would have been like, okay, she's not faking. But I think when he finds out she has been faking this whole time, I think it's just the one thing that just pushes him right to the end.
And what's crazy is like Lowen tries to stop him because he goes. Now this is obviously the last chapter. Okay, this is before the 7 months later thing.
Yeah.
He goes to the door and he's standing there and he keeps saying her name. And then he's like, if you don't answer me, I'm calling the police. And then eventually, after several seconds, she opens her eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Crew is like asleep in the room because that's healthy to just let your young child go sleep. Or
no, I don't think Crew's in the room.
Not in the room?
No.
Okay, no.
I think he's in his own room. Because that was right when Crew came back for getting the stitches in his mouth from
the knife.
Yeah.
But Crew is like right next to her room. Now, it's not super healthy that they're letting him just like.
I mean, none of this is really the most healthy situation.
Body, but it's fine. And then he says, "What the fuck, Verity?" And she claims that she had to.
Yeah.
And then she says, "Please don't hurt me. I'll explain everything." And he said, "Don't hurt you. You killed her." Because I think that I don't know if he didn't believe the manuscript at first. Like, he took it as, like, you're a piece of crap. Like, I hate you. But maybe you didn't kill her. But I can't believe you would write that you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Or maybe, like, for the reasons that I believe the manuscript, her faking it, he now is like, she had the capacity to do this. So now I even more believe what I read 3 months ago.
Right.
Because it's the same reason that I believe it to such an extent. Because I'm like, there's no way, like the same person who does all the things that she does to fake it and all this stuff, like that is a level, that's a level.
Which I know
I think he's now realizing that as well. And he's like, what?
He may have also been like, well, she writes from the villain's point of view, which like is true because her books are all from the villain's point of view. But like, there's a difference between being a villain and murdering your own and writing about murdering your own child.
That's not even. Yeah.
What are you doing, dude? You couldn't have done that after you. It's fine. Go take your bath. Please don't come in the camera with. Come on. And then he grabs her up by the throat, right? And he's like, and Lowen tries to stop him, sort of.
Well, no, she's trying to protect Jeremy. I don't think she cares about Verity at all. She just wants to make it look like it happened accidentally.
Stop. This is. Oh, give me the remote, Ari. This is an argument that because if you're not gonna be in here, I'm gonna pause this. Now go. This is an argument that I've seen people have in regards to Lowen, is that she tried to stop him, but in my opinion, she tried to stop him sort of. She tried to stop him from getting caught.
I agree.
What he says is, Jeremy, you have to stop. You're crushing her windpipe. They'll know you killed her. And he says he killed our daughter. And she says, think about Crew. Your son will not have a father. And then hands him a pillow.
Yeah. No. She wasn't trying to stop him from killing Verity. She was just trying to protect him.
This is definitely not a parenting how-to.
No.
Listen, do not read Verity and be like, this is how I'm going to parent. Don't do that. Because then later she says you have to make it look like an accident, make her vomit, cover her nose and mouth until she stops breathing. It'll look like she aspirated in her sleep. Yeah. So like you did not try to stop it. No. You just tried to stop the dude that you love from getting caught.
100%.
For your sake and his child's sake, which like, okay, I mean toxicity. But cool. But then she feels some remorse, I think, or maybe just shock. I don't know that it's remorse over the fact that she's dead. But the fact that he says, we went to bed like normal, both of us around midnight. I administered her meds, and then when I woke up at 7 to get Crew ready for school, I found her unresponsive. Okay. Verity died in her sleep, he repeats, and we're never going to discuss this again after tonight, after this moment right now. And she says, all right. And he says, all right. That's it? Like, y'all just killed a whole person, and all you're gonna be like, and we're never gonna speak about this again.
Yep.
And then they move out of that house, which of course they did, because they're probably being haunted now. Yeah. 7 months later, and she says Verity died in her sleep 7 months ago. And they talk about how hard Crew took it, how Jeremy supposedly took it difficult, publicly. Yeah. She left after she had, Lowen left after
Verity died. And came back, like 3 weeks later or a month later?
Her outline and everything, like all the outlines were approved. And then she turned in the first draft.
Yeah.
But also she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Is a thing that happens. And she says we were shocked at first, although not surprised. Things like this happen when you aren't careful, which they were. Here is my thing. If you are writing a book, they were never careful. I don't think that there was one intimate scene where they used any kind of protection, which here's what I'm going to give Colleen Hoover. Colleen Hoover, if there is protection used in the books that I've read, which I've read all of her standalones at this point. If there's protection that is used, a condom or something, she puts it in there that it was used. Right. So she doesn't make you assume, well, maybe they used or maybe they didn't. Mm-hmm. Colleen Hoover very much writes her sex scenes in a way that if there is any kind of safety used. And in this book, this book is toxic. So of course there was no safety used. But it's weird to me because now you have to explain how you got knocked up. Because if people who do the math, they're going to know that Verity was still alive.
But the thing is, probably nobody is going to do the math. But also, if you assume, like, like, I think people who would do the math would be like, oh, but she was an invalid, like, no one to know she was faking. So like, and she was always going to be that way. Not that that makes it right in any way, shape, or form, but I think some people would like give them a pass on it to some extent because of that.
Right.
Not that I'm saying it's right or should be done in any way, shape, or form.
But that's
not what I'm saying.
True.
But I'm saying that if someone, and a lot of people don't do the math, like people don't care enough about other people's lives. Like after a while, like people move on. And if you don't post it on Facebook, no one really pays attention and it's fine.
And also the fact that
she's not like the most famous of authors either. So it's, you know.
So it's not like it's going to be like, scandal in
exactly author. Like she's a barely known author, so it's probably not gonna be
so
that.
Here's my other thing with the letter. I just flipped to the letter here. Is that she says, Verity says, I want to start off with an apology. This is like the second paragraph because the first line is just her, or first paragraph is just her saying that she hopes it's Jeremy that finds the letter. She says, I want to start off with an apology. I'm sure by the time you read this, I'll have left in the middle of the night with crew.
Yep.
Because you had, and the thing is like when you read this letter, you know she had a whole plan to take this child and leave in the middle of the night.
Which is why I think she was still talking to crew because crew, and you didn't want her to just get up one night, take crew, and him be like, what the heck? Like he knew the whole time.
And the thing is that crew made comments about talking to his mom. And Jeremy was like, oh yeah, he talks to her. But he wasn't taking into consideration that she was talking back.
Because no one would go, oh, someone's faking that. Like no one would think like anyone would do that. Like you would never assume that would be the case.
And what's so crazy is she says, after years of being the perfect wife to you. Okay, I think we have different definitions. I never expected this career that I love and devote most of my time to would ultimately be what ended us. So how are you so she was a perfect wife because every other chapter we find out that she's given this man like 12.
That I think is what she thought was the perfect wife. Is as long as you were having a good time in the bedroom, that you were A+.
Or the fact that there was one time where she like let him finish in her mouth and then didn't spit it out and then went and got sick. That's perfect. I'm confused.
She is the perfect wife. Yep.
Okay. Our lives were perfect until we somehow flipped into an alternate dimension the day Chasten died. Ma'am, you flipped into an ultimate dimension the day you got pregnant.
I don't even know. I think she, like, even their dating relationship before that.
It was weird.
It was extremely unhealthy.
It was unhealthy, yes. You could say. Because listen, I listen, okay, I have a true crime podcast. I do a lot of true crime research, right? And we have a lot of, like, these people in these situations where like the husband murders the wife and they're like, they were the perfect couple because you can make it look one way to the outside world. That's why I make sure people be knowing like me and Sam, absolutely not. We fight. It's fine. Not like unhealthy, but like we have our disagreements. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But like it's so weird to me because Verity takes zero, even in the letter, she takes no responsibility for anything. No. And it's my career messed us up. Chasten's death messed us up. But like you murdered a whole child though. Because you
and really alienated your children even while they were alive. Like there was a lot of emotional abuse, physical abuse. There was a lot.
And she favored Chasten to the point that like Chasten could do once she had a bond with Chasten. Keep that in mind.
Yes.
To the point that Chasten could do no wrong. So anything that went wrong was Harper's fault. Because she didn't understand Harper. So everything must be Harper's fault because what's the other explanation?
Yeah.
And then Jeremy just made it worse because he would, I don't want to say come to Harper's rescue because like he's her dad.
Mm-hmm.
But that's basically what would happen is he saw the alienation and then would be like, what are you doing? Stop treating her like that. But that was like a personal attack to Verity, where she was like, oh, you love her more than you love me, which then turned into a fight of, yes, I love the kids more than I love you. Like,
right.
It's very strange to me, though, that not really, but like, I think that in Verity's head, she believes that the reason that she bonded with Crew is because he's a boy. There's no competition because he's a boy.
Right.
So what she's done is she's been the perfect wife by giving her husband a boy. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
But the girls are competition because they could steal his heart from her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But like,
Yeah.
it's very like, there's a part of me which it makes me seem very like cold, right? There's a part of me that's like, I would never wish for a family to lose children. Okay, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
But what would Harper's life have been even if her and Chasten had both lived, right? Because Harper would have just ended up being like the black sheep. So she would have just gone through that her entire life and then probably like never spoken to her mother ever again. Like when she like grew up.
It would have been it definitely, I would have hoped that like if an alternate universe existed, that Jeremy would discover that these things were going on and like
be like, and we're done.
Take his children away and protect them.
Right.
Hopefully. That would be my wish for them.
But the other alternative reality would be Chasten would be favored her entire life. This like, I don't want to say spoiled, but I don't know how else to describe it. You know what I mean? She would be favored by her mother. Crew would be favored by his mother, their mother as well.
Right.
And Harper would just, I think Harper would have kept a relationship with Jeremy, but would have had no time for her mother.
Yeah.
Because like
But even she might not have, because sometimes when, you blame the other parent for not protecting you too, like as you get older. You go, how did you not notice this? How did you not see this? How did you not do something about it? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that the reason that Jeremy I really think that Jeremy trying to kill her the first time it just seems like he tried to kill her the first time because he was like, well, this is my avenging. Like he was trying to like avenge it. Because she even says like she spent the entire night and some of the morning working on the manuscript and reached the final page. So she wrote this in a night.
Yeah.
She wrote that whole manuscript in the time it took us to read this book. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And then printed out and stuffed it in a box, and she just left it in there. But then remembered that she left it open on the laptop, found him sitting in front of the laptop, and then said, no, it's not true, Jeremy. It's okay. It's not true. Which is what she wanted to say, but all she said was no, which is when he drug her by the throat and asked him to let her explain. And then she says that she woke up in the passenger seat of the Range Rover. He was behind the wheel.
I mean, I believe all of that. Like, I think that's accurate and true. But I think, she's going to put something true in there because she's going to, in her mind, when people find this letter, she will have kidnapped her son. So she needs to have some truth in there to like make her kidnapping her child make sense.
You were going to kill me and make my death look like an accident. I had unknowingly written my own death in the last 2 sentences of my manuscript. So be it. Maybe I'll just drive my car into a tree.
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am.
Yeah.
And then she said, had I died, it would have been the perfect suicide letter. Which, like, true, because you're nuts. But, like, also, I feel like I agree that there's truth to the letter. It's just not the truth that most people, I think, are looking for when they say that they're team letter. I think that people want to believe that Jeremy is like more evil than he is. I really don't think that Jeremy is the bad. I mean,
I don't know. It's hard to say because I think there has to be some sort of like, for this relationship to go on as long as it did in the way that it did, you either have to turn a blind eye to so many red flags that it's I mean, and lots of people do that. They ignore red flags all the time.
right.
But there's no way that she kept this completely under wraps, that he had no idea this was happening.
And like I said, the only way that he could have is if he really believed that all of it was just that she was a writer and she was quirky. Which makes me now wonder, kind of, to a certain degree, it makes me wonder, like, how many authors, this is where this book made me think, because how many authors do we know that write dark content, right? That not
writing it about people in their own lives,
which is true. But I was like, but she also wrote fiction.
But yeah, and if she would have kept it in the fiction, I wouldn't question it.
But then I'm like, but you wrote, because her thing was that the publisher or the editor was like, just write your own villain origin story. That's what she's claiming this exercise was, which, like, fine. But if I wrote my own villain origin story, it wouldn't be about murdering my children.
Yeah.
There would be nothing about murder.
Exactly.
I mean,
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Murdering my worst enemy or something that's still alive, but like it would never be murdering my children.
Yeah, no.
It's one thing to be like your like origin story. Well, I'm gonna use this as an example, but like Maleficent, right? When we watch, this is spoilers, so if you've never seen Maleficent, it's like 10 years old at this point, so go watch it. It's on Disney Plus. But her origin story is that essentially, like, the prince cuts her wings off, right? Which is like a simulation for the R word. So that's her origin story. So if I'm gonna write a villain origin story for myself, it would be something like that. Like, this person took my innocence. I avenged by whatever. Cool. But like, why is your villain origin story about?
It wouldn't be to any sane, rational person.
And then you drown one of them in the lake.
It wouldn't be. Especially if your children actually died, like, tragically.
That's what I'm saying. And
not even if they lived would you write it, but I'm just saying, especially with that on top of it, like, there's no way.
Now, she does seem to have told the truth about Harper, or about Chasten dying from the peanut allergy, the anaphylaxis.
But not in a rational way.
Because he says that she died of anaphylaxis.
Yeah.
From a peanut allergy. But what you did was you said she died from anaphylaxis, but also her sister poisoned her.
Right.
By putting her into anaphylaxis.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're like, and also I drowned the twin sister because I hated her so much, but then made it seem like I tried to save her.
Yeah.
I kind of liked him, but by the end, I'm like, yeah, they deserve each other. Yeah, I went back and forth with Jeremy because by the end, I didn't really like him. He's not a likable character.
I don't think necessarily any of the characters are likable characters. I don't really mind that so much.
But I felt badly for Jeremy. if that makes sense. I had sympathy for, not empathy, because to have empathy, you have to like have gone through what they've, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I had sympathy for him though, because he got himself, because I can believe that he didn't know at first, and then by the time that I can also give him, because we give this to women. I mean, also people will be like, I don't understand why she didn't leave, but like, if I can look at a woman in a relationship like this and say, okay, she felt trapped, I could also look at a man and say, okay, he felt trapped, because by the time he realized that his wife was a freaking nutcase, he felt like it was too late because they already had kids. You know?
Yeah, but if you think that your wife is hurting your kids,
and that's where my line is drawn.
Like,
that's where my line is drawn.
Yeah,
because it's
I agree.
Hurting me.
Yeah, like yeah.
I'm sorry. I was told to check my DMs. We will meet at yes, we definitely will. We met in the Hustle Stanley community originally. I stopped liking Jeremy midway and disliked him at the end. Yeah, I felt badly for him, but I also was like, bro, why didn't you just turn in your proof? Like, you had the proof. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he could have called 911.
Yeah, totally.
Because by then you have the manuscript. You don't have the letter because the letter is under the floor. But you have the manuscript. You have Lowen's account. You have Jeremy's account. So, and her credibility is, like, Verity's credibility is already shot because she's been pretending for months that she is a vegetable. So, like, it's not like people wouldn't have believed him.
Yeah.
Plus, he's a man. I'm not trying to be funny, but like, I'm pretty sure that Jeremy is a white man. So, like, they're going to believe you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, and you're rich. Sure. So, like, there you go. I mean, technically, it is. I did, and I DM'd you back. Technically.
Exactly.
Like, technically, it's her money, but like, they don't know that. You know. Also, I love leaving my house.
But also, they lived off his money for a long time, so it's not like he's incapable of making money.
Yes, I did go to Katie's wedding. If you go to my planner Instagram, I think it's called like Planning a Digital Life or something really cheesy. I need to post on there more. There is a photo of the two of us at her wedding. Also, I just need to say that if I ever go to another wedding and they do not have a wall of wine, I'm going to leave. So, at Katie's wedding, at their venue, they had a wall of wine on wheels. So when we came down from the like the ceremony to transition into the reception, because they had to like move chairs around and stuff, you came downstairs, and at the bottom of the stairs there was a wall of wine, so you could pick white or red, and it was great. It was really, really great. I'm
in Nova Scotia, Canada.
Yes, she is in Canada. Honestly, it's great because I still have a bit of my Minnesotan accent, so I don't feel so weird when I talk to Brittany, because she also has, like...
See, I don't think I have an accent.
See, Lainey, that was from Katie's wedding. By then, I had been dancing, so my hair looked weird because I had it, like, tucked in and, like, pinned, but it's fine. When he admitted that he was the one that had read Lowen's work.
Same.
Yeah.
He seemed really vindictive.
I wasn't really, when he said that, I was like, I'm not understanding, like, what was the point? Like, he picked her to write it, but like, what was your motivation for that?
Yeah.
Which we don't really get an answer to. Now, she did write an extra chapter in the hardcover version of Verity that's coming out here really soon. I pre-ordered it, I'm not gonna lie to you. Also, I just really liked the cover because it's it's still like this design, but the cover is like a lighter color.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find it. But she did write an extra chapter, so I'm kind of hoping that extra chapter will tie it up for me for that part. Because it doesn't make sense to me what his actual motivation was.
Yeah.
And we never get an explanation as to what the man's motivation was. So this is what oh, hold on. My Amazon is being real dumb. So it comes out on September 27th. And I've already pre-ordered it. But this is what the cover looks like.
Oh, nice. I like the lighter cover.
He's kind of just like inverted the colors.
Yeah.
And we do get an exclusive new chapter. This is the collector's edition. It is hardcover. I think she said this was the first one of her books that is a hardcover book. I think all the rest of her books are paperback.
Yeah.
But yeah, so okay, we already read that one. Manipulative.
Yeah, that's what I meant by vindictive. Manipulative.
That's the only thing I can think if I have to come to the conclusion by myself, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense as to why he picked her to write the book. Because if he's the one that read the stuff, so so that means that he's also the one, like he's the one that read it, so he's the one that picked her, because by the time that she was picked, Verity was a vegetable, so we believe.
Yeah.
Hi, Pat. Hello, Pat. Shoot. Okay, I'm gonna have to go fix that. What did Coho want people to believe? Let me actually go look that up. I meant to look it up before because I've looked it up before. I thought he picked.
Yeah, could have.
That's
possible.
That's very, very, very possible. Here we go. Give me 1 second. Because I don't know if you guys are going to be able to even hear this. I don't know why this doesn't have any sound. She doesn't. So Colleen Hoover did an actual. Oh, that's why, because someone was messing with my headphones. Colleen Hoover did
all about their exciting new releases. Today, I'm here with one of my all-time.
And he's actually reading it.
Oh my God, that's the funniest thing ever.
She did an interview where she talked about the Verity ending. And I'm trying to see if there's somewhere that it's just like written. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to link this video.
Yeah.
Because there is a video that she did with Betty's book list. I'm sorry, Betty's book list in January of this year. That's where I heard about it, but I can't remember. I meant to watch it before we did this live show. That shows you how professional I am.
Okay.
But I'll link in the description. I'll link, or I guess I could just put it here. Hold on. because she does give an explanation, but you have to kind of watch Betty's book list. And the video is called Colleen Hoover Reveals Whether Verity's Letter Was Real. And I mean, I've told people before, like, read, because people have asked me and I've been like, you need to like just like read the whole book and then decide for yourself and then take into consideration what Colleen Hoover says. Because I just think it is more fun to just decide for yourself anyway, but enjoyed the audiobook as it was atmospheric.
I don't mind books that don't completely like come to a close and make me think, as long as it's done well.
Yeah. Yeah, so we were just discussing that Verity is not actually an invalid. Like,
no,
she's supposed to, but she's faking her invalidness because she thinks that somehow that will make things better. No, actually, because she wants to run off with Crew. So the only way to do that is to pose herself. Let's see. Anyone else find it random and unnecessary that Lowen and Jeremy ran into each other briefly before the interview at the beginning? In hindsight, it's weird. It's also strange that I don't know. I feel like maybe he knew who she was and just didn't put on like he knew. Is that just me?
Well, he obviously knew who she was because he picked her to write the book.
Right. But like, why didn't you say it?
Because he wanted to sound like Verity would have chosen her. Like, it was definitely, like Amy said, it was definitely like very manipulative. Yeah. I mean, obviously he didn't orchestrate the person getting hit by a car, but like, obviously he saw her there and was like, oh, I can start building this relationship with her right away.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is weird. I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree that it's strange that he's the one that was like, hey, buddy, I know that you just got splattered by some man's blood that you don't know. But let's go in this bathroom. But also he does give her a lot more information than she needs.
Yeah.
Like saying, like when she says what happened to you, instead of just being like, oh, I've been through tragedy, or like kind of shrugging it off or like not talking about it, he's like, oh, I pulled my daughter out of the lake.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna tell a stranger that?
Okay.
I mean, that's weird, but okay. Once I knew he had chosen her, it felt like he had manipulated the meaning, like he was following.
I agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah, I also agree with this. Because it definitely felt planned once we knew that he was the one that had read the books, or her other writing or whatever. Because Lowen is very open, at least with the reader, about the fact that she had never read any of Verity's books, and that the only time, now I don't think she ever tells Jeremy that.
Yes, she does, I think.
But she does make it very, if she does, she tells him much later than she tells readers. Because we know that she listens to the first book in the series for the very first time
while she's driving
there to this man's house, to these people's house, to write these books, because she's like, well, I guess I need to, she's like, I was able to find the audio book, which like relatable. Okay. But like the fact that she never read the books, and then the first time that she's listening or reading one is on the way there, just shows that like she had no indication that she would be picked to write this woman's, I don't know, like that. it's interesting to me that it didn't seem weird to her.
Yeah.
Weird to me that it didn't seem weird to Lowen when she knew nothing about this woman.
Yeah.
Or she only knew as much as someone in that realm would know.
Right.
Like, obviously she knew, because she's also an author, she knew that Verity had been in an accident. She knew that their family had tragedy.
What was out in the press, but nothing more than that.
She didn't know to what extent until she Googled it. So that tells me, like, this wasn't an author. It's not like you and I who follow, like, I mean, I don't really follow Colleen Hoover. I follow her writing. But it would be like if you and I followed Fonda Lee, the author of Jade City, right? If we knew everything about Fonda Lee, that would be one thing, but we would only know what was in the press.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're following.
Right.
You're not going to know, like, because she didn't even recognize Jeremy as Verity's husband.
No.
Which means that Verity was the only face in the media. Which makes sense. She's the author.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I wouldn't be able to tell you what most authors'
partners look like.
I
wouldn't be able to tell you if most authors had partners. Now, Colleen Hoover has, like, her sons and her husband, like, in a lot of her reels and stuff. So if you follow, like, her Instagram or her TikTok, you will see them. But, like, if I met them on the street, I wouldn't be like, oh, you're Colleen Hoover's family. Like, no.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Sure.
Most authors that I read, I don't even know if they're married or not, unless I happen to read, like, their bio and it says, like, so and so is married and lives in Ethiopia or whatever. Like, unless I read that, but then you're not getting a face to the name, and you're not getting a face, and you're not getting a name.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me that they wouldn't have recognized, that she wouldn't have recognized him.
Yeah.
But it is very weird and manipulative to me that he recognized her. He had to have, because he picked her. But then didn't allude to anything. So then she felt, like, blindsided because she's literally wearing this man's shirt. But also she had, like, a weird, unhealthy relationship with her agent or whatever the hell he was too. Yeah. Because she was sleeping with him. Yeah. And it was like, he could never love me because he loves he loves her as he loves the person that she writes in her book. Yeah. Like, the whole book is just like,
it's one unhealthy relationship after the other.
Right. And, like, I just want to know, because Jeremy and Lowen get a happy for now. I can't even call it a happily ever after, because it's not that. It's like a happy for now ending, right? Yeah. Because they move, they have crew. Yeah, he struggled after his mom died, but he's, like, on the mend. But, like, they get a happy for now. I just want to know how they think that that's going to last. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, yeah. It's but it might last just because they have this secret they kind of have to hold for each other at this point.
And I think that's the only thing that will keep them together. Is that they will both be afraid that one or the other will.
Yeah, exactly. So if you stay together, it's more likely y'all keep your secrets.
Right. Which, that's not healthy.
No. Again, one unhealthy relationship after the other in this book.
But yes, I mean, for anyone that's watching the replay, because I'm sure that people will probably watch the replay. I don't even know, like, I don't even know how to conclude this. Like, this book is
Like, we enjoyed it, but it's messed up.
I gave it 5 stars. It still sits in the 5-star range for me. A very solid, very high 5 stars. If you give it 5 stars. But I do want to say read the triggers.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Not do what I did and go into
Although I would assume that if they're at this point in the live show, they've read the book already.
That's true. But if you recommend this to your friends,
tell them to look at the triggers.
Tell them, and if they don't want to look at the triggers, just be like, well, can I just give you trigger warnings?
Yeah.
Because even for people like me who, like, I've had miscarriages, I suppose, but like I haven't like lost a living child, that's been birthed. But like this triggered things in me that I didn't even know were triggers until I read them.
Sure.
So
it's just very disturbing.
Don't let your friends listen. Friends, do not let friends go into Verity
blind.
No warning. Okay, because I even gave a warning to Brittany and Cassie. Cassie's not here, but I gave a warning to them. I was like, please read the triggers. And then I know Cassie had a surgery yesterday, which I think is why she's not here because she's recovering from that. But Cassie struggled. She did finish it and she gave it 4.5 stars, I think. But she did struggle with some of the content of the book, and that was even with me being like, please go read the trigger warnings before you dive into this book. So do you have anything?
No, I think we've covered it all, but I'm so excited we did this live show. Like, it was fun.
Yes.
We did our first live show.
I know. And we are having the Besties Book Club. Me, Rainey, and Brittany. We are reading the only 2 that are out, but we're reading both of the Finley Donovan books
for October.
Yes, we will discuss sometime in October. I'll get with them shortly, and we will try to figure. We'll
get some sprints worked out for everybody's channels and where the live show is going to be and all that stuff. We'll get it out at some point.
We'll start doing it probably sometime like in the middle of September. I think is good. So if you don't want to read the Finley Donovan books, like you want to listen to them, so you would prefer not to read with your eyeballs, but would prefer to read with your earballs.
I'm going to do them as audio this time. I did the first one as audio and read the second one with my eyeballs. So I'm going to do them both as audio, as rereads.
That's what I'm going to do as well. Because I read the first one with my eyeballs and then I listened to the second one.
So that's my plan as well.
They are on Scribd. If you don't want to pay for Scribd or whatever, I do have a link in the description box. But just know that it will give me I don't think anyone will care, but it does. It's like an affiliate link. It's like my share link. So if you click on that link and sign up for, I think it's 30 days of a free trial, it also gives me a free month of Scribd, which I use Scribd so much. It's so worth the $10 a month for me. But they are both on there. The narrator is perfection on it.
So good.
She's the actual definition of perfect, unlike Verity. Okay. Verity as a perfect wife.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So I think that's really it.
That's it.
If you
Thanks everyone for coming.
Brittany, and you're watching this, I'm pretty sure everybody that's actually on the live follows Brittany, but if you don't follow Brittany and you're watching the replay, go follow her. She's linked in the description as well. And I think that's it.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right. So thank y'all for hanging out with us for this last hour and a half-ish. And we'll see y'all.
Bye.
Bye.